Hey, fourth graders. All right, so this is going to be the math lesson. But before that, of course, we had morning work, which was the three pirate race. And I'm just going to tell you the answers just so you can know, though probably most of you figured it out pretty easily. So Captain Boatwright, who was the leftmost one, he was on or his ship was named the Viking, and he took second place. Captain Flash had a ship called the Cyclone, and he was first place. And Captain Shipley, his ship's name was Thor, and he came in last, so he came in third place. So Boatwright was Viking in second, Flash was Cyclone in first, Shipley was Thor in third place. So there's that one. And then the next one will be for Thursday. Okay, now math. First of all, homework. It was lesson 2.5. It looked like this if you've forgotten, which you shouldn't have because it was just yesterday. This is going to be out of a total of 6 points. So please write 6 points at the top of your page. If you could use some sort of a pen or, I hate to say marker, but pen, colored pencil, whatever. You know the drill. Just something that's not pencil colored to check your work. But please make sure that you check it. Number one was done for you. So number two, and I'm not gonna go through what picture you should have drawn or anything like that, but number two was 13 times 5. And first of all, I think this was a problem that actually came up in the lesson, so you probably already have the answer to it. But 13 times 5 is 5 times, well, the way you should have probably broken it up is 5 times 3 and 5 times 10. 5 times 3 is 15, 5 times 10 is 50. 50 plus 15 is 65. So the answer to number 6, let's pick a color that will hopefully show up, or number 2, sorry, is 65. Okay. Number 3 is 14 times 4. And this is going to be, again, 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 10 is 40. 40 plus 16 is 56. So 56 for number 3. Number 4, the way I would have broken it up is doing 7 plus 10 is 17. So 7 times 3 is 21. 10 times 3 is 30. 21 plus 30 is 51. Number 5, you had 15 times 6. And again, breaking it up into 10 plus 5. So 5 times 6 is 30. 6 times 10 is 60. 30 plus 60 is 90. Hopefully this is showing up okay. I can see it, so I'm guessing you can as well. And then the number 6, which was the one with there's a whole bunch of dots. If you counted them up, there was 7 dots going down and 13 going across. Again, you could have broken it up any way you wanted, but let's just do 10 and 3. 3 times 7 is 21. 10 times 7 is 70. 21 plus 70 is 91. So 91 for number 6. Okay. So that is the first 6. But then number 7 is explain how you can use a model to find 6 times 17. This, again, because it's one of those explanation questions, there's always kind of a lot of it could be a lot of different things that are valid. So you should have something to the effect of, well, there's 2 different things that I would accept. If you were talking about exactly how you would draw the model, then you might say I would go down 6, I would go across 17, and then you might talk about I could break the 17 into 10 and 7 and then multiply 6 times 10 and 6 times 7. Something like that, where you talk about actually how you would draw the picture. The other option, of course, is just to say that you would use the model to break 17 into smaller pieces that are easier to multiply by 6 to get your answer. So as long as you have something about using the model to make the problem easier, it's going to be okay. I'm really not super picky about these. Mostly I just want you to be thinking about them. So something about I use a model to help show the problem and make it easier to solve would be fine. Or you could tell me actually how you would draw the model out. That works as well. Okay, cool. All right. So now if you look, we went from lesson 2.5 and we're jumping all the way up to 2.10. So we skipped 5 lessons, which debatable if that was a good thing or a bad thing. We'll see. But really what it was is there was a lot of estimation lessons. There was a lot of kind of just doing the same thing again and again and again, which it was one of the things that Go Math did that I didn't always like, is there's a lot of just, now draw more pictures, now draw different pictures, now do boxes. And sometimes I just wanted to like get on with it. So lesson 210 is multiply 2-digit numbers with regrouping. So some of you might remember solving a problem that was, I think in the assignment was like 13 times 3 in the last lesson, right? Okay, now this is one that you don't have to do any regrouping, right? 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. 39 is our answer. All right, and it's really not 3 times 1, it's actually 3 times 10 is 30, but we'll not worry about that too much, right? But there was no regrouping. This was pretty straightforward. However, a lot of the problems that we did in the last lesson would have had regrouping, right? So if we had, let's say 17 times 3, right? 3 times 7 is 21. And then if you did 3 times 1 is 3, that doesn't look right, right? Because 17 is kind of close to 20, and I know that 3 times 20 is 60. So that looks off. And it is, because 3 times 10 is not 300, it's just 30. So we could write it down here like this, and then add them, 51. All right, and that makes a lot more sense because 3 times 20 is 60. 3 times 17, 51 is kind of close to 70, so it makes sense, or 60, so it makes sense that 51 would be an answer. So this is one way to do it. However, when they're talking about regrouping, what they want you to do is go 7 times 3 is 21. You put down the 1 right here, and then we're going to regroup or carry, depending on how you want to say it, the 2 up here. Then we go 3 times 1 is 3, and we add this extra little bit, okay? So it's 5. Notice I don't go 3 plus 1 plus 2, and I don't go 3 times 1 and then 3 times 2. That's not what we're doing. This 2 is really from 21, and then now we're doing 3 times 10 is 30, right? So we add the 3 and the 2. Same thing here. Okay, we carry this 2 up, we go 3 times 1, because this is a multiplication problem, but then we add in the 2, so it becomes 51. All right, that's going to be kind of the end game that I'm hoping to get you to, is being able to do this relatively automatically. I don't expect you to have it quite right away, but that's what we're going to get to. So if you look at the essential question, we're on page 119. The essential question is, how can you use regrouping to multiply a 2-digit number by a 1-digit number? Okay, so unlock the problem. A thoroughbred racehorse, because this book was all about horses for some reason, a thoroughbred racehorse can run at speeds of up to 60 feet per second. During practice, Celia's horse runs at a speed of 36 feet per second. How far does her horse run in 3 seconds? Okay, so the problem that we're solving here is 36 times 3. Now, the first thing that I would like you to do, and it's part of the assignment, is I want you to come up with an estimate. Okay? All you have to do is round this to the nearest 10. I think they're all going to be in the 10s because that would make the most sense. Cool. So we're going to round to the nearest 10 for our estimates. All right? 36 is close to, or closest to what 10? So basically, is it 30 or is it 40? Well, it's 36. 36 is much closer to 40 than it is to 30, right? So our estimate, step over here, is going to be 40 times 3. So just as we learned a couple lessons ago, we basically do 3 times 4 is 12. And then we have 1 0, so we're going to add that extra 0. So 120. So 40 times 3 is 120. So now we want 36 times 3. Let's see. By the way, I'm on example 1. Estimate 3 times 40. Oop, this is backwards. Sorry. Should look like that. This is a line that you have to fill in. So then we have 3 times 36. So we are going to write this out, and they kind of show it to you a little bit. In fact, I think they're going to give you the answer here. But I'm going to show you how to do it without looking at that answer. Okay, so the first thing we do is we do 6 times 3, which everybody should know is 18. We put down the 8. Just like in adding, so if I had, say, 15 plus 6, right? 5 plus 6 is 11. So I put down my 1, and then I carry a 1, right? Or regroup the 1. We used to say carrying when I was a kid, but regrouping is what they want you to say now. And then you go 1 plus 1 is 2. All right? So we're kind of doing the same thing here. So 6 times 3 is 18. Put down the 8. We regroup the 1 up here, and then we're going to add that in later. So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. So 108. So 108 is pretty close to 120, right? And actually, if you look at, this is 4 less than 40, right? So if you did 3 times 4, that'd be 12. 108 plus 12 would be 120, so it makes sense, and you can check it that way as well. Okay, so down here in step 2, it says, so Celia's racehorse runs 108 feet in 3 seconds. And then since 108, so on that bottom area, after you've written in 108 feet in 3 seconds, you're going to say since 108, that's on the first line, is close to, to the estimate of 120, comma, the answer is reasonable. All right, so this is the bottom part. These would be the two lines that you fill in. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, of course, feel free to come on the Google Meet or just keep plugging away at it. I think you'll get it, probably more than you think you will. Also, you can always rewind and watch it again. But I'll be available on the Google Meet, as you should well know by now, because I included it in the letter to your parents and told you yesterday. All right, let's take a look at number 1. We are on page 121. It says, use the model to find the product. So first of all, we haven't really talked about this, I guess, but when they draw out these little long things like this, they're kind of 3-dimensional. They sort of have like a thing like that, and they got lots of little lines in here. I don't know how many that is, doesn't really matter. So these are always worth 10. If you have just the one little tiny one, that's worth 1. If you have a big, long one, usually got 10 lines going up and down, 10 lines going side to side, that's 100. And we shouldn't get into 1,000, but if we do, it'll be a big, huge cube is going to be 1,000. So something that you might want to know. Not sure if it'll come up in the other curriculum that we're using, but when we do go math, this is the sort of thing you'll see. So number 1 says use the product or use the model to find the product. And the question that it's asking us is 36 times 2. So for this one, you could actually really kind of just count them up, right? If you count the long stuck together pieces as 10, you got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And then if you count each individual square, well, there should be 12 squares. So that would give us 60 plus 12, 72, right? 72. But let's do the actual math as opposed to the counting. So, first of all, 6 times 2 is 12. Put the 2 down here. We carry the 1 up here. 3 times 2 is 6. And then we're going to add in this regrouped number, which is 6 plus 1 is 7. So 72 is your answer. This is for number 1. All right. Let's do numbers, we'll do 2 and 3, and then I think the rest of them you guys can handle on your own. Let's see, is there anything? Oh, we'll also do 15 because I don't think that we've ever done that together. And that way you will have a chance to see how to do those. And then after that, you're on your own for a little while. So number 2. First of all, it says estimate, or estimate. And then we have 42 times 4. First thing we need to do is figure out what our estimate is. So 42, is it closer to 40 or is it closer to 50? Well, since it's 42, that's only 2 more than 40, but it's 8 away from 50, so it's closer to 40. So our estimate is going to be 40 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16, and we put the 0 in. So our estimate is going to be 160. That's a 0. Now we need to see, is our estimate going to be close? Well, the other thing we need to check is, did we round up or down? Well, we rounded down, right? We had 42, we went to 40, so it's lower. That means that our number is going to be bigger than 160. First of all, 4 times 2 is 8. Since this is 8, not 10, 11, or anything higher, I don't actually have to do any regrouping. Then I do 4 times 4 is 16. So 168 is our answer. You know what? I tell you what. Let's do number 5 instead of number 3 because that one doesn't have any regrouping either. So number 5 has regrouping, so let's do that one. Because most of the problems they're going to give you after this are going to all have regrouping. And I'm guessing that you can probably do 3 and 4 together pretty easily. Okay, so this is number 5. We have $63. This does not matter at all, except for technically your answer should have a dollar symbol, but I am not going to get hung up on that. All right, so 63 times 7. Well, first of all, we have to estimate, right? $63, is it closer to 60 or is it closer to 70? Well, it's closer to 60, so we're going to go 60 times 7. 6 times 7 is 42, and then we put the 0 on the end, so 420. So our estimate's going to be 420, that's what we write up here. And we know that since 60 is less than 63, our estimate is actually going to be less than our real answer. So let's figure it out. 3 times 7 is 21, so I put down a 1, and then I'm going to regroup this 2 up here, and we're going to add that in later. 6 times 7 is 42. 42 plus 2 is 44. So there's our answer, 441. And that's reasonably close to our estimate, you know, not super, super close, but then 3 times 7 is 21, and it's 21 bigger than 420, so it makes sense that that would still be reasonable. All right. Let's do number 15 because otherwise you might not know how to do that and it might be confusing. So number 15 looks like this. Oh, by the way, Numbers 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, they don't really give you a whole lot of room. They want you to copy it onto a piece of paper or something. So that would be a good thing to do. If you think you can squeeze them in there, you can go ahead and try. Just telling you that if you want to put it on another sheet of paper, that's why they have them together, is because it says estimate, then record the product. Oh, copy and solve. So they want you to copy it into a book and then solve it. Okay, so we have carton. That says cartoon, not carton. Cartoons and eggs would be a whole other type of thing. And we have egg. And we have this chart. So we have 1 carton, 12 eggs. 2 cartons, 24 eggs. 3, not quite sure. 4, 48. 5, not quite sure. Okay, so this is the chart for number 15. And first of all, really before we even have the chart here, though I had to write it for you guys, or draw it up here for me, you should always read the bold stuff, right? So identify relationships, algebra, write a rule, find the unknown numbers. So we have to write a rule, that's the line below, and we have to figure out what the unknown numbers are. Well, going from carton to eggs, what are we doing? So if you go from 1 to 12, you might think, well, that adds 11, right? That's one way to look at it. But of course, you would also think, wait a minute, this is a multiplication chapter, so it's probably not going to be adding. But so it could be 11, but for 2, that doesn't work, right? Because 2 plus 11 is 13, and this is 24. So how could we use multiplication to go from 1 to 12? Well, 1 times 12 equals 12. 2 times 12. So if we had 12 times 2, right? 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2, 24. I think I'm seeing a rule. All right, well, we have 48 over here. We're saying that the rule is times 12, so cartons times 12. So we have 4 cartons. We're going to multiply that times 12. 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4, 48. That's that one too. All right, so first of all, our rule is we're just going to say cartons times, or you could just put the x, 12. That's our rule. You don't have to write the word rule there, but just know that that's what that is. All right, so we have to do 3 times 12. I'm going to put it down here. So we have 12 times 3, which I think we've already solved, haven't we? I guess not. Okay, fair enough. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3, so 36. So, I'll switch. Let's try red. Let's see how that works. Maybe you can see it. Hopefully you can see it. 36. And then we have 12 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10. So we put a 0 here. We regroup the 1 up to here. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 more is 6. So 60 would be our number here. And also, you can really look at this as like eggs is always adding 12, because you're multiplying times the next bigger number, so you're adding 12. So 12 plus 12 is 24. 24 plus 12 is 36. 36 plus 12 is 48. 48 plus 12 is 60, so we can check it that way to make sure that it works. So 16 you'll have to do on your own. All right. There's a lot of math problems on here because there's 2 pages. We've done a couple of them together, but you have 1 through 23 essentially, and then you also have the homework, which is going to be 1 through, or well, 2. You don't have to do number 1, of course. Compare products and regrouping, describe them. I tell you what, we're going to skip number 11 on the homework. So, if you don't watch the video, then you might not know that you're skipping number 11 on the homework, in which case you'll do it. But that'll be good for you. And it's not going to count against you if you get it wrong. So, number 11, skip that one on the homework, which is on page 123. but you have to do the estimates, and then you also have to find the actual answer. So find the estimates and the answer if it asks for an estimate. Cool? Cool. All right. We will go over, yeah, we'll go over these when you guys come back on Thursday. I suspect that this, for some of you, is going to be kind of difficult, in which case it's going to make a lot of sense for us to maybe spend an extra day on it. I still want you to try and do the homework, but we'll see. Depending on how everybody does on it and how much of a struggle it is, it might be more of a like an extra credit sort of a situation. Anyway, I have been talking for 25 minutes now, and I'm tired of it. So I hope that you guys are having a great Wednesday, and I'm enjoying being able to speak without a mask on. Hopefully you are too. But yeah, that's math lesson for the day. Good work. Keep working on it. Good luck. And again, the Google Meet link will have been sent out, or will get sent out. And if you have any questions, I'll talk to you about it between 11 and 12. Have a good day. Bye.